Hello friends, my name is McKenna and welcome to Knit Between the Lines, a knitting podcast. This is a podcast where I chat about what I'm knitting, what I'm spinning, what I'm reading, and any other fun stuff I might get up to along the way. So grab whatever project you're working on and let's jump into it. So it's been a while since I've chatted with you guys last. It's been about probably a month. Honestly, I haven't had a lot to talk about. I've been working on the same projects. I've been super exhausted with working. Yeah, there just hasn't been a lot to talk about. So I have been also super busy just with my weekends have been full with like just errands, hanging out with friends, plans. I just haven't been able to really sit down to chat with you guys and I haven't had much to talk about. So I'm finally here and I'm really excited to share some progress with you guys because I've actually been able to sit down and knit lately. I kind of lost my knitting mojo a little bit the last couple weeks, which is not good when I'm trying to cast on a Christmas present for Cameron, who is my husband. But we finally got some progress on some projects that I think we will get cast off probably in the next week. So let me show you my first work in progress. Oh, let's chat about what I'm wearing, first of all. This is probably a sweater you guys haven't seen. I don't know if I've actually worn it in a podcast. I don't know if I've worn it in a podcast or it's just been a really long time since I've worn it in a podcast, but this is my Stick Season sweater by Rebecca Clow. I knit this sweater a little over a year ago. I bought this yarn from Woolen Folk back when I went to Rhinebeck in 2023, which seems like forever ago, but I cast this sweater on probably in like December of 2023 and worked on it all the way into January, February of 2024, which is really funny because I was actually working on this sweater when I came to visit Portland in 2024 and decided that I wanted to move here, which feels very serendipitous. But this is the Stick Season by Rebecca Clow. I knit this in, it's Les Garçons British DK. And the colorway is Jonathan's Soft Day, which is like this really beautiful, like sagey green color. I actually really love this yarn. This was my first time or like dipping my toe into using more of a non-superwash woolly wool in a sweater, and it sold me. I love knitting with non-superwash now. It's almost my go-to. I'd rather knit with a non-superwash because of this yarn, and it's held up really well. I've had it for over 2 years. I wear it constantly, especially right after I finished it. You can see that it's been folded up for the season now that it's cooler outside now with late November, so I've just pulled it out of storage to start wearing it more often. But absolutely love this yarn and I love the pattern. Rebecca Clow is such a great designer, and I remember her releasing the tester call for this pattern and I was like, oh, I want to do this so bad. I didn't get chosen, but as soon as she released the pattern, I immediately bought it. And when I knew I was going to Rhinebeck, this was the pattern I had in my mind when I was shopping. So I was super stoked when I came across Les Garçons' booth at Woolen Folk, and this color was like perfect what I was looking for. So absolutely love this sweater, absolutely love the yarn. Super excited to pull it out for the season and wear it a ton. Anyway, like I said, let's jump in to my first work in progress, which is the Oversized Seasons cardigan by Ozetta. So the Oversized Seasons cardigan is a half fisherman's rib cardigan that I've been working on for probably about a month now. It is worked in a worsted weight yarn, and she actually has two patterns that is described or titled as the Seasons cardigan. She has the Seasons cardigan and then the Oversized Seasons cardigan. The only difference is that the original Seasons cardigan has 4 inches of positive ease, and then the Oversized Seasons cardigan has 7 inches of positive ease. I personally prefer, especially in my cardigans, to have more positive ease, so I chose to do the Oversized Seasons cardigan, and I am loving it so far. I'm doing the size 5, which should give me exactly 7 inches of positive ease. And the yarn I'm choosing, or the yarn I'm using, is yarn that I've had in my stash for quite a long time. It is from Hue Loco. It is her Fireside colorway from her Cozy in Colorado collection from like a couple years ago. I bought this yarn way back when I lived in Boston, pretty early on when we moved there, like 4 years ago. So it's been languishing in my stash for a while. I bought it, I think originally for a champagne cardigan by Petite knit, and I just never cast it on. But then I don't even remember why I changed my mind or how I came across the Seasons cardigan, if it showed up on my Instagram, but I was like, why am I obsessed with that? And I think half fisherman's rib was just a stitch pattern that always intimidated me. But oh, no, what happened is I knit the Attune Shawl by Andrea Mowry and realized that half fisherman's rib is really not that complicated, and I was like, I want to knit more half fisherman's rib. So I think I just went looking for half fisherman rib patterns and came across the Seasons cardigan by Ozetta and bought it, and then I realized, oh, half fisherman's rib cardigans are like the cheat code to cardigans. Because as a knitter, you know, cardigans are great because they're super great for transitional seasons because they're easy to get on and off because they're open in the front. But they kind of suck to knit because, as I've said in many previous episodes, so you've already heard this if you're a regular viewer, but if you're new here, when you knit a cardigan, like a regular stockinette cardigan, it's great when you knit on the right side, but on the wrong side, it's a whole lot of purling, especially on the body, because you got hundreds of stitches that you've got to purl. But for half fisherman's rib, when you're knitting it flat, on the wrong side, it's all knits. So you're only knitting half the stitches, or you're only purling half the stitches on the right side, and then you're knitting all of the stitches on the wrong side. So way less purling, and it is so nice. And half fisherman's rib is super rhythmic. It is like just enough intrigue to keep you interested, but it's also mindless enough to do while you're watching TV, reading a book, listening to an audiobook in the car. It is like the perfect, like everything you need, like just enough intrigue, just enough mindless, not a lot of purling. It's like gorgeous. So let me show you my progress. Last time I showed this to you guys, I was on the bottom ribbing. I think I only had probably a couple inches left on the bottom ribbing. I, again, made another lofty goal that I was going to have this finished for you guys because I wanted to wear it at Sacred Sheep, which was this past weekend. I, again, like I mentioned earlier, I don't know if I lost my knitting mojo. I just like wasn't really in the mood to knit, I think, on what I had going. I think I was really tired. I wasn't getting a lot of sleep. I was sleeping well, just not enough time, if that makes sense. So when I would get home from work, also daylight savings time is doing me dirty here in Portland. I get off work at 4:30 and I take the bus home, and my bus, when I get off work, I have to sit and wait for the bus for about 20 minutes. So I don't get on the bus till about 5. At that point, the sun is down, right? So I get home 5:20, it is dark, right? So it feels so late, and I need to like decompress after being at work all day. So I end up being on my phone and rotting on my phone for probably way longer than I should be. So then at that point, I only have like an hour and a half left of my day, 2 hours, hour and a half left of my day. I've got to cook dinner, I've got to get ready for the next day, maybe shower. So there hasn't been a lot of knitting time because my brain is like recalibrating and my body is recalibrating to like not having any more sunlight and like realizing that like, hey, it's only 5 o'clock, it's not 9 p.m. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of getting back to that. But anyway, so I haven't done as much progress as I would have liked. I think I probably could have finished this if I had just like really stuck to my guns and like cranked it out if I wanted to. But at the end of the day, knitting is a slow hobby, and you shouldn't have to force yourself to finish something just because. Like, you should enjoy every project. So anyway, here's where we're at. Here's the sleeve that I have picked up on, and here's my finished sleeve. I really like it. Honestly, I did try this on and I was a little worried because it's not as oversized, or it doesn't have as much positive ease as I thought it was going to. But she does say in the pattern that half fisherman's rib by nature does grow a lot with blocking, as most ribbing does, but especially half fisherman's rib like brioche, just because of the nature of the stitch pattern, it grows a lot. Because like in brioche, you have those yarn overs. In half fisherman's rib, when you knit one below, it kind of releases one of the stitches, which makes it loosen, if that makes sense. So even though this looks nice and tight now, when I block this, it'll probably grow quite a bit widthwise. So I think I will get more of that positive ease after blocking. I did get gauge with my swatch, so I know I have the correct gauge, and as I go through the pattern, I am getting the correct like row gauge to, or the correct like row count that I am supposed to get, 2-inch measurement that she lists in the pattern. So I think we're okay. We're gonna be fine. Cause like the sleeves are a little more fitted than I normally would go for. They fit fine. They're not too tight or anything, just more fitted than I normally would go for, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But I am really, really enjoying this. I definitely had hoped I would have this done sooner. I wanted to wear it like in the fall time. I wanted to wear it in the fall time. But you know what? It is what it is, you guys. I can still wear it in the winter time. It'll be super cozy to wear, especially now that it's getting quite chilly here. Especially because in Portland we don't get a lot of snow in the winter. It just gets kind of rainy. So I feel like this will actually be quite nice to wear in the winter. It'll be a nice like not bright color, but a nice warm color to wear outside when it gets a little gray here. So, but absolutely love this. This pattern very much has made me realize how much I love knitting half fisherman's rib and how much I love knitting in worsted weight. I like only knit in like sport weight for a really, really long time. And then I branched into DK weight, and then I branched into worsted weight, and I don't know if I can go back because now the idea of knitting in sport weight makes me want to cry. But I highly recommend this pattern. I know I've said that every episode and I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing it, but like I'm gonna make everyone knit this pattern. Or at least knit a half fisherman's rib cardigan in general. You don't have to knit this exact pattern. I think you should just knit a half fisherman's rib cardigan because I think it's the cheat code. I really enjoy it. I think I just like half fisherman's rib. I also just love that I don't have to purl a bunch of stitches for the cardigan. My other work in progress is also one that you have seen, and that is my pressed flower shawl by Amy Christoffers, or Savory Knitting. I have been loving this project recently. My cardigan also hasn't been getting a lot of love because I finished a skein of yarn and for whatever reason just couldn't bring myself to come into the office and wind up another skein. So that meant I got to sit and work on my pressed flower shawl. And she is looking beautiful. I love her very much. If you are unfamiliar with this pattern, the pressed flowers like group of patterns in general is a really beautiful like flower mosaic pattern with some texture in it. Amy Christoffers Savory Knitting has a bunch of pressed flowers patterns. Like if shawls aren't for you, there's socks, there's hats, there's a cowl, there's a sweater, there's a cardigan. Like there's so much to choose from. If you've at all interested in mosaic knitting, I feel like the pressed flowers pattern is a great one to start with. It's really beautiful and it's really, really easy. It's really easy to memorize. And I really enjoy it. This is the second time I've knit the pressed flowers motif in general. I have knit the pressed flowers cardigan, and it is probably my most worn garment. I love that cardigan. I wear it constantly, and it is probably the piece that I get the most compliments on when I'm like just wearing it out by knitters and non-knitters. I actually wore it to Sacred Sheep last weekend and got many compliments from everybody, which I feel like getting a compliment from anyone when you're wearing your knitwear is always really, really nice, but it always hits a little different when it comes from other knitters because they know, you know, like they know the work that goes in there and like picking out the yarn and the colors and everything. So they don't have to tell you that it looks good because if they don't like it, they won't say anything. So I feel like it always means a little extra when like a fellow knitter looks at you and they're like, I really like your sweater. And like, it looks so nice. And the colors you chose are like chef's kiss. It just like hits a little different. You know what I mean? So anyway, so I bought this yarn at Flock Fiber Festival back in Seattle in August when I went with my friend Delaney. She was purchasing yarn for the Hesper shawl, also by Amy Christoffers, which is another mosaic pattern, but it's more of a quilt square motif, which is also very beautiful. That is also on my to knit list eventually because I love the way hers is turning out. She chose kind of like a off-white grayish color in a black, so a very like traditional contrast. Looks so good. And then another person at Sacred Sheep did like the reverse of how she's doing her colors, and it looks so nice. So I would love to do that. I think it would look so cool. Even though I don't know if I'm really a shawl person, but I do kind of enjoy knitting them. But I think it just has to be the right shawl and the right pattern for me to wear them, because I do love like wrapping up in a scarf in the winter. So I think it just has to be the right kind of shawl, if that makes sense. But I bought this yarn back in August at Flock with Delaney. We kind of helped each other pick out colors, which was always super fun. But the yarn I chose is from Made by Haley Bailey in her Classic DK, I believe. Haley Bailey is a local Portland dyer. She's absolutely great. I recommend you checking her out. All of her stuff is like nature inspired and she has such fun colorways. And she also makes like hand cream and wool wash, all of that stuff. But the colorways I chose are these really beautiful, like cool tone purpley taupe and brown. So my main color is this brown color, which is anthocyanin. It is a really beautiful cool tone brown. It has like a purple undertone to it, which might be kind of hard to see in the camera. And then my contrast color is this taupey color called Muslin Moth, which also is like a cool purple taupe, which I absolutely love. Very neutral, which like normally I don't go for like neutral stuff. I do love like colors. I love greens, I love purples, I love blues. So this is like the most neutral I think I've knit with. Most of my stuff is a color, but I just feel like this will go with literally anything. But here she is. She's grown so much. She looks so nice. Oh, even like she would look so good even with my sweater. Like, that's what I'm saying, you guys. It's gonna go with everything. But it looks so nice. I have done, so you have your setup round, and I have done 3 of the colorwork repeats. So I have, and according to the pattern anyway, I have 3 more repeats, and then you have the border left to do. So we're chugging along. I feel like it's flown by so far with this pattern because it is DK weight, but as you know with shawls, as you increase, you get way more stitches. So these next 2 repeats are going to take more time, which is totally fine. But I love mosaic knitting. I feel like it's a great introduction into color work because sometimes stranded color work can be really intimidating, especially to newer knitters. So if you're interested in color work, but stranded color work kind of seems intimidating to you, I definitely recommend mosaic knitting, and the pressed flowers patterns are like a great intro to mosaic knitting. Mosaic knitting, if you don't know what that is, essentially you're only ever working with one color at a time. So you're knitting with the color you're working with, and then you're slipping the other color, which is really nice. So you don't have to worry about color management, floats, and you're only ever holding one color at a time, which is really, really nice. So like the back of this looks like this. So like it does create floats technically, but you're not having to catch any floats or manage floats or anything like that, which is really, really nice. So pressed flowers cardigan, or pressed flowers shawl, which I feel like everyone knows this pattern. It's a very well-known pattern, but I love this. I feel like it's turning out so nice. I feel like this almost gives very like heirloom piece vibes. Like I feel like this is something I could hand down to like my child or my niece like in the years to come, just because like it feels very classic. Okay, I have one more work in progress for you guys, and it's actually a new cast on. I cast this on a little bit ago for my transit project. As I said earlier, I do take the bus to and from work in the morning. Cameron and I share a car here in Portland, so it just makes it easier. And also, my bus line takes me directly up to the hospital and takes me directly to my apartment, so it's really nice. So we try not to use the car as best as we can because, you know, gas is expensive and taking transit is better for the environment, which we love. So I end up sitting on the bus for extended period of time, so it's always nice to have something to do with my hands that is not sitting on my phone if I can help it. So because I have yet to cast on the sweater for Cameron for Christmas, and I bought this yarn for him knowing I wanted to do a hat for him, I actually wanted to cast this on to give him for Christmas, which he can hear me, maybe, hopefully not, but he knows anyway. So I cast on the Oslo hat by Petite knit for him in the tomato colorway from Explorer Knits, which is this really pretty, like variegated, like orangey red color, which I think is like so fun. Like I don't think I could wear a sweater in this color. I don't know, maybe I could. I don't know. My face is very like pinky red sometimes, so I feel like when I wear red it like exacerbates that. I don't know, but I love like these kinds of colors in accessories, and I love variegated colorways very much, and like tomato is so pretty, so I knew I wanted to make a hat out of this, and so I bought some for Cameron. I also bought Heirloom, which is like their solid red tonal from the same collection. That's like the mate to this one, but this is like the variegated version. But absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if you can pick up the variegation in the cake, but I cast on the adult large because the circumference of his head is 24 inches, so which should fit, because it's gonna grow, and you also want your hat to have a little bit of negative ease so it doesn't like fall off your head. But let's see if I can get the variegation to come through. Oh yeah. You can kind of see the variegation. Oh, it's so pretty. Yeah. So I've been working on this pretty slowly, but the Oslo hat's really nice because it's essentially a stockinette hat. It's very similar to the Musselburgh hat by Isolda Teague, except it's not like where you knit the really, really long tube and then you shove it inside of itself and then you fold it. This is like half of that. So you knit like 8 inches and then it's like a triple folded brim and then you do the decreases. So I think he likes his hats pretty close to his like head, which is kind of which is the style of the Oslo, and I think he'll really like it. And I know this is a pretty well-loved pattern. A lot of people have knit it. A lot of people really like it. It is a pattern that I've been wanting to try for a very long time. So I'm really excited to knit this. So this has been my car knitting and my bus knitting for a while. I am actually flying home in a couple weeks for my family Christmas, which is, we do ours really early because my mom usually has to work on Christmas, and both my sisters have families of their own and in-laws, and they usually do stuff on Christmas as well. And it also is usually really great because then I don't have to worry about fighting for time off with people that have higher seniority than me at work. So this will probably also be my airport and plane knitting, so it'll get a lot of love in the coming weeks. So that way Cameron will have something to open that is handmade on Christmas, and then the sweater will come eventually, hopefully. So this is the Oslo hat, tomato, adult large. I really like it. I'm curious to see if Cameron likes the fit of this. He really likes his Musselburgh hat that I've made him, and he really liked his Harlow hat that I made out of the hand-spun I made for him. He's not very picky when it comes to his hats. He really wants more beanies. So I was like, I can do that. I can 100% do that. So really excited to get this finished for him. I'm really curious to see if he likes the fit, because I feel like this would be a really easy project to just toss on my needles, and it won't take as long as the Musselburgh hat, because the Musselburgh hat is a lot of knitting. But yeah. Oh, and the tomato is on their Rocky's DK base. So it is a DK weight yarn. Oh, look how vibrant this looks on camera. Oh, it's so good, so good. So I don't have any FOs right now because, again, like I said, I have not been doing as much knitting as I would have liked coming up to the gift knitting season. And I don't have any spinning because I am keeping my wheel free for Advent spinning, which I'm super excited. I talked about my Hedgehog Fibers spinning Advent last episode. So I'm super excited that we're getting closer to opening up the first fiber little bundle. I still haven't decided. I think I'm gonna wait to spin until I open up all of them to kind of decide how I want to spin it, but that's gonna be super, super exciting. So I don't have any spinning, I don't have any sewing, but I do have some acquisitions. So I did go to Sacred Sheep, but I actually didn't buy any yarn, which I will get into later, but I did get these really cute enamel pins from Shelly Can. Shelly Can is like this really wonderful lady. She makes these like fish themed memorabilia, so like enamel pins, stickers, keychains, like a bunch of stuff, and it's really fun because they're knitting themed, so like the fish are wearing sweaters and scarves and stuff like that, and like some of them aren't even knitting themed, and she also has some stuff that's knitting themed but not even fish themed. They're really cute. I've seen her on social media, and I think she was also at Flock, but I didn't even see her at her booth, or I didn't see her booth, so I didn't see any of the stuff. So I definitely made a point of stopping at her booth, and I just like couldn't not buy these enamel pins. So this was one of the ones that I got. This is like the little sardines, which is kind of hard to see because of the lighting, but it says salty bitches, excuse my French, on it, which I just thought was so funny. And then in smaller script on the bottom, it says hint of spice, wild caught, ready to serve, which I thought was so funny. And I love how textured it is, and the sardines are like sparkly pink, And this was just so cute. I was like, this is gonna look so cute on my Trader Joe's project bag. And it's got like 2 little pins on the back. It's just, and they're really, it's hardy, you guys. It's textured, it's gorgeous. I think it's just so fun. I love this. Oops, there we go. I just think this is so stinking funny. Like, the play on words was just really, really funny. So I grabbed this. I thought this was really cute. And then the other one I got was this really fun, like, iridescent oil spill pin, and it's a sheep taking off in a rocket. And I like that this looked like wool tufts, which I think is super fun. So it's a little lamb, like, inside the rocket. Yeah, the little lamb or sheep, like, inside the rocket, like, taking off, which I thought was super fun. Like, this is gonna look so cute on my, also my Trader Joe's project bag. So, because I also have, like, a little Yoda in a big oversized sweater and, like, socks that are massive, and it says, "Gauge you must." So I love having cute little enamel pins on project bags. So that was the only thing I bought. So I went to a whole fiber festival and spent $24, and I was, like, quite shocked with myself. Never in a million years would I think that I would go to a fiber festival and walk away with no yarn, but that's what happened. So that being said, like, let's jump into some life stuff, and I'll chat with you about Sacred Sheep. So last week I went to Sacred Sheep. Sacred Sheep was the 14th through the 16th of November here in Portland, Oregon. It is a rather small fiber festival here in Portland. I believe it's only a couple years old. I think this might have been like the 3rd year that they've had Sacred Sheep. I love Sacred Sheep. It is smaller in comparison, obviously, to like Rhinebeck and Flock, but I personally love that. The vendor selection is a lot smaller. They do timed tickets, so what you do is you purchase your time ticket for Saturday and or Sunday, because you actually can purchase a time ticket for both days and you actually kind of get a price break, which is really, really nice. But I enjoy that you get a timed ticket for the marketplace. That is just for your initial entry into the marketplace. You can kind of, once you go in initially, you can kind of go in and out after that, which is really, really nice. This is just their way to kind of do crowd control, if that helps. So that way everyone can have a really nice time and there's no crowd crush, which is really, really nice. So that way the vendors aren't stressed out, the shoppers aren't stressed out, everyone can actually have space to, like, see all of the yarn, all of the trinkets, all of the things, which is really, really nice. I really, really appreciate it. And it is smaller there, but that also means that they're very intentional with the vendors that they bring each year, which I think is really, really nice. The venue is really, really beautiful. And then once you go outside, they have like a coffee cart. They have some like food carts. Usually it's like a pizza, or I think this year they had a pizza van, which was really nice. And then they have a bunch of tables underneath a covered tent where you can just go sit and knit, which is really, really nice. I also think it's fun because the last 2 years they actually offered flash tattoo appointments. So you can sign up for the appointments, I think preemptively or right when you get there. And they have a couple of yarny, maker, knitting, crochet, sheepy, flash tattoo options, which I think is super, super fun. I have personally not gotten one of these tattoos, but a friend of mine did get one this past weekend, which was super fun to watch, and it was very, very cute. But Sacred Sheep is super fun. I really enjoyed it. I was a bad content creator and did not get any videos. I did get to go with a couple of knitting friends this year, which was super fun. So I just went and got to enjoy the experience and hang out with my friends and look at all the yarn. But I actually did not buy any yarn like I mentioned previously. So I've kind of hit this point with my stash where I have a lot of yarn and a lot of yarn with intentional pattern choices for that yarn, where I kind of am not just buying yarn to buy yarn anymore. Like, I am buying yarn with very intentional pattern choices. So when I go to a yarn festival or a yarn store, I'm buying yarn with a pattern in mind. So I'm not going to just like buy yarn to buy yarn. And so I went to Sacred Sheep with a very specific pattern in mind, with a very specific idea of what I wanted. And there was a bunch of beautiful yarn, don't get me wrong, but I already have a lot of what I am looking for currently with the patterns that I'm wanting to knit right now. And the pattern I was looking for was for the Winter's Pullover by Ozetta, which is a really gorgeous, oversized, big old turtleneck, which was like super cozy, comfy for winter. And I was like, oh, that would just be so great to have to just like nestle up in. And it's an Aran weight pattern. So I was looking for like worsted weight, lace weight to hold together, or an Aran weight, which there wasn't a lot of Aran weight, which is fine. That's not a very common yarn weight to bring to a show, which I totally understand. And then I was being very particular. I'm not very particular, but like I needed it, I wanted it to be non-superwash, and I kind of had I like didn't know what color I wanted, but I knew I would know and I would see it. You know what I mean? So the only yarn that I saw that I liked was, I think, from Garthenor. Garthenor was there, which was super cool. I love Garthenor. They have all non-superwash bases. They mill it all themselves. They spin it all themselves, and it's all from like Welsh yarn, which is like amazing. They had their number 4 Aran weight yarn, and I really loved their, I think it was their smoke colorway, which is like a really beautiful, light, cool gray, which I really liked it. But for some reason, their number 4 yarn was priced like $35 a skein, which was like almost double the price of like all their other skeins of yarn, which I'm assuming has something to do with like the milling process and maybe the sheep breeds and the spinning, because I know they've recently changed to milling and spinning their own yarn. So I know their prices have changed, which is totally fair. I'm assuming that price is very intentional for a reason. I was just going to need like 9 to 10 skeins of an Aran weight yarn to make this sweater because it's a big oversized turtleneck. And I just like, I liked the yarn, but I didn't like it enough to spend that much money on 10 skeins of yarn, if that makes sense. So that being said, I left it, and that's fine. So I just kind of kept looking around. I just didn't really see anything else that kind of fit what I was looking for. So that's fine. But I found really cute pins and I loved it, and there was a bunch of little tchotchkes that I thought were really cute, and I got to hang out with a bunch of my friends and knit and hang out and have a really great day and be surrounded by yarn and fiber artists and yarn, and it was a great time. So I'm just being really intentional with my yarn purchases, which is totally fine. But I mean, we all know the damage I did when I went to Flock in August, so it's not like I can't do damage at a fiber festival. But besides that, so what am I watching and reading right now? So Cameron and I are still kind of making our way through Peaky Blinders right now. We usually watch Peaky Blinders when we eat dinner at night. We are just finished season 4 of Peaky Blinders, so we're going into season 5. I love Peaky Blinders. Cameron's also really enjoying Peaky Blinders. Super excited that they are coming back for another season and they're doing a movie. I love Cillian Murphy so much, or Cillian Murphy. Super, super excited. Love Peaky Blinders. I'm also still watching campaign 2 of Critical Role, kind of just stripping away at that over time. Usually that's what I throw on when I'm just knitting on the couch. Just something in the background that I can knit and watch. I love Critical Role. I also am still watching campaign 4, which is live streaming on Thursdays. I am absolutely loving the whole new vibe of campaign 4. I don't know if anyone here also watches Critical Role and you are also watching campaign 4. I'm very curious how you guys are feeling about the new like vibe of Brennan DMing and the different tables and like how they're kind of breaking up the group a little bit. I think it's really cool. I love Brennan's DM style very much. It's very different from Matt, which I think is very, very refreshing, and I feel like I love the flair that's being done with all the characters, and like I just think it's very creative and I'm really, really enjoying it. So I also love that Matt's being able to play, which is great. Besides that, what I'm reading, I have finished the Ashes and the Starkhurst King by Carissa Broadbent, which is the second book in the Crowns of Nyaxia series. So that's like the main duology. So the way she has set up the series supposedly is that it's 6 books total, but it's set up in like 3 sets of duologies. So I finished the first duology, and then the second duology follows a different set of characters in a different kingdom in the same like universe, if that makes sense. And the character that we follow in the second duology is a character from the first set. So it's not like it's a character we don't know. So instead of going directly into the second duology, I actually picked up the Primal of Blood and Bone by Jennifer L. Armentrout, which is the second to last book in the like Blood Nash series, and I'm like 22-ish% in. I like couldn't wait any longer, and I just needed to read it because my coworkers have both already finished it and they're talking about it, and I just like need to know what's happening because they're like obviously trying to not spoil it for me, but I can't wait any longer and I need to know. So I'm really enjoying it right now. Castile, the main love interest, is kind of getting on my nerves, which seems to be the theme. They warned me about that, and I'm like not loving how this is going currently. It's fine. I just hope that I want it to, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I gotta keep reading because right now I'm not loving the trajectory of where we're going, and I'm not loving the foreshadowing of where we're going. But I've heard mixed reviews. Some people really, really liked it. Some people were like, this is unnecessary. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I really like it so far. I can understand people's dislike for it. I'm here for vibes. I read for vibes. So we'll see. But again, this book also was meant to be the last book in the series, but Jennifer L. Armentrout came out and was like, I just feel like I can't finish the story and do it justice in one book, so I need to split this book. So she splits the book, and this one is 1,052 pages, and from what I've heard from my coworkers, it's a lot of filler and a lot of stuff that did not need to be in there, which is very interesting, because if that's the case, I think Jennifer L. Armentrout just needs to get a new editor. So I don't know. I will make my own opinion once I read it. I'm only 20% of the way in right now, so we'll see. We'll see how we feel. But as of right now, I am enjoying it. I am still getting a little annoyed by Castile right now, but we'll see. The second duology of the Crowns of Nyaxtia series is out already, so book 3 and 4, I believe, is already out. And then the third duology, the first book is set to come out in sometime in 2026, and the sixth book, I think she said recently in an Instagram post or Twitter, some sort of social media post, that it's estimated around 2027, so it's not going to be finished for a while. But I really enjoy it. It gives like Hunger Games vibes with a vampire twist, at least in the first book. The second book very much has like political intrigue, enemies to lover traitor situation. It's really, really good. I really liked it. And they're very quick reads. I really liked it. I also like that the series is broken up into duologies, because I feel like it gives you the opportunity to kind of do what I'm doing, where you read the first duology and then you can kind of take a break and read something else, and then you can do the second duology and then take a break and do something else. So I really like it. I'm excited to read Primal of Blood and Bone. So we'll see how it goes, and I will keep y'all updated. Alright guys, that's all I have for you today. I feel like it was quite chatty because I haven't been here for a while. So if you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe. It really helps my channel out. And click that bell icon if you guys want to get any notifications for when I post in the future. Thank you all for stopping at my little crafty corner of YouTube and sharing your time with me today. See you next time. Bye.